The Paracave Podcast, proudly brought to you by major sponsor Jack's Pale Ale, exclusively available at Parramatta Leagues Club, Shannon Cooney from Glenmore Park Realty, BTZD Clothing, and the official media partner of the Paracave Podcast, the Parramatta Times.
Welcome to another episode of the Paracave Podcast. And now over to your host, Troy Warner, broadcasting live from the world-famous Paracave.
And yes, hello and welcome back to another episode of Sugar and Spice, episode number 4. And once again, George from the Quick Hands Podcast is joining me. How you going, George?
Hey, Troy. How you doing, mate? I'm fighting fit.
Yeah,
I'm great. I'm happy to...
How are you enjoying the rugby league so far?
Actually, loving it. You know, and I said it last week. Even the floggings are good. It's just good to have something on the television. It's good to talk about something, to think about something. But the games are great. Seriously, Troy. It's just champagne rugby league. It really is, and it's good. It's good to see. You know what's good to see? How every year is different. This year we got the emergence of the Tigers by the looks of it. Even despite they lost a game or two, the Dragons.
Thanks for bringing up the
better.
Tigers, by the way. Actually.
Oh yeah. You know what? I've got this gut feeling. Is it 4 weeks or 5 weeks? Mitch is out.
Could be longer. Round 12, I think they're looking at him coming back at the moment. There was a update come out today on the Eels socials about him and Bryce Cartwright, so I think it's about round 12, 13. So
Is Bryce out long term as well?
he's out for about 3 to 4 more, maybe 5.
Oh gee. Okay, because I felt last week both were missed. Definitely Mitch. They just needed someone to steer the team around to victory, sort of thing. And I'm sure they'll get used to. it. Guthler is doing his best, but tell you what, Mitch there. If Mitch was there on Saturday or on Monday, sorry, I reckon the result would be a little bit different. The question is, will you bank enough points to make the 8?
Well, it's going to be difficult now with Mitch out for an extended period, and I was going to ask you, actually, do you think that the Eels underestimated the loss of Mitchell Moses against the Tigers? Do you think they went into that game thinking that they could have won that game without Mitchell Moses?
Absolutely, they did. They thought they're going to win. And I think still the Tigers have got the stigma that they're easy beats. And that's far from the truth now. So not that they weren't prepared, because you know they emotionally the Eels were there, but Mitch is a big piece. And last year or the year before, when all you guys were arguing, "Oh, should we pay him $1 million, this and that?" You know what I said to Nico? When you haven't got him, come and talk to me. When you haven't got a top halfback, what do you fight? These guys don't grow on trees. I'd give him 1.5. You know what I mean? So Mitch is a big piece, very big piece. Just the kicking game. The last kick, he would have got it.
Yeah.
He would. You know it, and I know it. He would have got it.
Yeah, I wasn't too confident with. I must admit, I wasn't too confident with Gutho taking it. Sorry, Gutho, if you're listening, mate. I wasn't too confident.
Young Blaze is very good, but he's only 19. But he's very good. There's no doubt about it. But I mean, the kids are 5'8", number one, not a half. And again, he's 19. You need, like I said, halfbacks need to steer that ship around. You know what I mean? Everything falls on you. All the praise, you get all the praise, and you get all the hate. So I don't know what's going to happen. See, I fear for you in going down to Canberra this week. I really fear for Parramatta. The forwards will match it, and the forwards will probably overpower the Canberra forwards, but you still need someone steering that ship.
I think Canberra have won 14 out of the last 17 games at GIO Stadium, so we don't have the best of records down there. But speaking of stadiums, I'm just wearing the Cumberland Oval League Tees t-shirt at the moment. Now, I'm sure you wouldn't mind me saying that you're probably maybe a little bit older than me. Did you ever get to Cumberland Oval?
Cumberland, yes, I did.
Yeah,
I did. I was very young.
Yeah, what were your memories of Cumberland Oval? What was it like?
I remember getting splinters.
Yes, a lot
because they were sort of bench seats down the bottom. I remember the tuck shops weren't the greatest. You had to wait a long time. The hills were great. I remember. But you know what? It was Paris. It was Paris home ground. And when Manly came, when Canterbury came, you knew all about it. Okay. Now they come and I know Parramatta's got a sensational record at Comback, but I mean, you're jumping into a Rolls Royce. You're jumping into a Mercedes. It's beautiful. Yeah. It's beautiful. But when you went to grounds like Cumberland, Leichhardt, you knew all about it. You know what I mean? Yeah, I do. I remember all the grounds. I was very young, but I do remember. Nice. I always used to sit on the hill. Nice.
Well, let's get back on topic and just back to the Tigers. And congratulations to Benji. The part-time coach.
Look,
I'm thinking of having a full-time salary and a full-time job, but only working 4 days instead of 5.
Mate, I'll tell you what. Not only you should take that extra day off and make more money, but I'm on the back of that. I'm going to ring up Bulldog Richie, the guy who exposed Benji, and I want him as a business advisor because he called it. He picked it, so I want to work less and get more money as well. Yeah, absolutely. And the moral to that story is Bulldog Richie, Buzz, Kent, all of them. Okay, I'll give him a clue. Write real stories instead of making up stories and throwing shit to good people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So Benji has said that he'll probably start a little bit later. It doesn't have to be in there at 6 o'clock in the morning. And 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. is his family time. And the question was raised, do you go to bed and think about rugby league? And he said, well, how do you know if I do or I don't? So he's certainly winning 2 games in a row at the moment. So congratulations to him. We just talked about after their first win, actually, it was funny to see that they had to get the team tip sheet notes for the team song. And Benji was one of the leading, I guess you could say,
contributors
to the team song right at the end there. He was really getting into it. I guess it probably hadn't been sung for a while because I think they only had 4 wins last year, so and a few new players this year.
Troy, I heard that the song got reworked, so it's a little bit new. They've got some new words there, so that's why you needed the sheet. But you know what? What's wrong with the old Balmain song, mate? What's wrong with the old West Tiger song? You know what I mean? Loved it. Loved it.
That's it.
I loved it.
That's it. Well, look, just shortly, just kicking on with the Balmain West Tigers thing. Leichhardt Oval. There's a lot of talk about Leichhardt Oval, and we talked about Cumberland Oval just before. But Leichhardt Oval's in the news. Apparently, after 2025, there may not be any more NRL games there, and there's been a lot of talk about saving Leichhardt Oval. It's not just used for NRL games, it's used for rugby union games, soccer games, community sport as well, but it definitely needs an upgrade. How much money do you think the NRL, and there's also been talk about the NRL buying Leichhardt Oval as an asset and putting money into it, how much money do you think the NRL should put into buying Leichhardt Oval and fixing it up?
Troy, they're suggesting $30 million to bring it up to scratch. That's a lot of money, Troy. And I can guarantee you one thing: if Peter Feathers Volandis doesn't think it's viable, he'll go nowhere near it. Okay, nowhere near it. And I'm suggesting to you, it's not viable, Troy. It's not viable. Now, you know what? They're right. It's a great ground, sensational ground. I've got memories walking from 5 Dock to Leichhardt, with swarms of people. You can feel the atmosphere, you can feel the buzz. There's nothing like it. You're talking about the game, you can hear other people. There's banter with the other team. It's great. You get in there, you go on the hill, and you know what? Some of the best memories in my rugby league, watching rugby league, and I'm talking now 80s, I'm talking early 90s, was Leichhardt Oval. There's only one small, minute problem, Troy.
What's that?
Okay, I love my 1974 Toyota Corolla. I love it, but guess what? When I jump into my brand new Hilux, guess what I like more?
Your Hilux.
So yeah,
I don't blame you.
Absolutely. So you know what? I go to Leichhardt Oval all the time, once a year at least. But guess what? I've got season tickets to go to Combank as well. Guess if you asked me if I had a choice which ground to go to, guess what? Which one I'd pick? Troy?
Combank Stadium. It's the best rectangular stadium in Australia.
Absolutely, Combank Stadium. So you know what? Nostalgia. It's really nice. It's really good. I suggest they close that place down. Okay, and let youngsters play there, junior sport, and any NRL team should keep away from grounds like that. And I'm going to include, because I went to Cogra Oval to watch St George and the Cowboys 2 weeks ago. Okay, that should be condemned as well, if you ask me. Okay, and I went to the prison not long ago. Okay, the prison is Shark Park.
Okay.
Now, Cronulla own their ground.
Yeah.
So that's what's going to save them, because you can't get kicked out of a ground that, you know, you can't. Yeah, but that place should get shut down as well, if you ask me. Okay, we deserve better. When you look at vision of all around the world of sports, you look at teams playing in pristine grounds. I'll tell you what, a friend of mine went to Vegas, and he's a Brisbaneite.
Okay.
And he goes to me, I thought Suncorp was good. He goes, I thought Suncorp was good. We're in the dark ages, he goes. In terms of grounds.
Yep.
He goes, we're in the dark ages. So imagine, and I think Suncorp's good too. Okay, well, it's equal. It's just a bigger version of Combank. Okay, and so is the one in the city. SFS is a bigger version of Combank. But if he's telling me, and he's an astute guy, if he's telling me that we're in the dark ages, guess what? I don't care where we get the money, be it government, be it Volandis sticking his hand in his magic wallet. We need to upgrade these grounds. Penrith's lucky; they're getting up. Their ground's getting upgraded, so they're lucky. And if I'm not wrong, are they playing a Combank next year?
Yeah, I think they will. Whilst they stay, I think for 2 years. I think whilst
for 2 years they're playing a Combank.
So they'll probably be one of the favourites to go to Las Vegas next year to play in that game. Obviously, depending on whether they win the competition, whether they four-peat again because of the World Club Challenge. So,
I was going to say the World Club Challenge that might get in their way, but look, bring it on.
Yeah,
bring it on.
That's it. Well, you mentioned Peter Volandis there, and I believe you read an article the other day, this week, that he came out and suggested that fans should stop booing Latrell Mitchell.
Made me sick.
Tell me all about that one, because I didn't see it. So what's that one about?
It made me sick. The article said they'll be looking very closely at footage of South Sydney games, and they're going to monitor the amount of booing that Latrell is receiving. And he said personally, Latrell is a really, really good human being. If you meet him, he's a really good human being, and he doesn't deserve the booing. Now, that conjures up a lot of questions from what is he? Is he a treasurer? I don't know what his position is, a CEO, whatever he is. Okay, has he got favourites? Is there favourites in rugby league? I didn't think there was, Troy. It's got nothing to do with race.
Well, no.
Let's make this very clear. It's because people jump straight away to the race card. I'm not talking about the race. Peter Volandis said you can't boo. Now, how are you going to stop? Number one, how are you going to stop booing? Now, I've personally never booed at the ground. But I thought we're playing the most emotional game in the world, because soccer, you've got to be physically up to it. But when you play rugby league and you put your body on the line, you not only you got to be physically up to it, you got to be emotionally up to it.
Yep.
And that emotion spills over to the crowd, and it's how many times have you watched the game through the television and you're engaged because you can feel emotion, and that's why we watch it, Troy.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
why watch the game, Troy. That's why I watch the game. You can feel this energy coming through the television. Okay, now what's Volandis telling us? Let's take Latrell away from it. It could be Payne Haas. It could be Mitch Moses. It could be anyone. Okay, he's telling us to stop booing at games. So okay, let's next he's going to tell us we have to wear a suit to go to combat. I don't know. Where's he taking us, Troy?
Does that mean that you can't boo teams, or is it just players? Because I know a lot of opposition fans at home games, and especially rival games as well. So like for Parramatta and Canterbury, Parramatta and Manly, probably when Penrith play there later on in the year, they'll boo the team.
When they run out.
When they run out.
Absolutely.
But
isn't that why we... But Troy, isn't that why we go to football? Isn't that why we watch football?
Well, yeah. People pay their money. They pay their memberships. And look, as you said, as long as it's not racially motivated, then...
No, there was no suggestion. No suggestion.
Okay, well, yeah. As long as people aren't doing that, that's fine. But people may just not like Latrell as a player. Well, and then they're booing Latrell because they don't like him as a player. Maybe because he is a good player, but
he's a very good player.
He is a very good player. He's a representative player. He's won competitions, and when he is on, he is on. But like for example, last weekend, Good Friday, at half time when he did that tackle Josh
O'Kar, and he got nothing. Didn't even get a report or nothing, and then we couldn't put on our 17th man, which was a winger, and we had to put the weak-gutted dog in the centres, and they ripped him apart. Is that what you're talking? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, what I'm talking about there is that no, that's fine. I know you're a Canterbury supporter, and so does that mean that you cannot boo him for that action?
That's what they're saying.
Because
that's what
he took your player out for the whole game, and this week as well. This week as well.
Yeah, I'm hearing you. I'm hearing what you're saying. I don't understand what he's saying. You know what? I want to wait and see. But on the surface of it, and let's forget Latrell, because I'm not going to single him out. Across the game, he's got to be talking about across the game, because he can't be talking about just one single player, because that means he's showing favoritism, and that to management can't show favoritism. That's not good management. Show favoritism. One player, one team.
That's it. Well, there was an example. I think it may have been last year with Payne Haas at Brisbane when he was, I guess, a little bit confused, going through some hard times, and I don't know. There was talk that he may leave Brisbane, or he wanted out of Brisbane, and the Brisbane fans were booing him because of that. Every time he got the ball, because he came out and said, I think he came out or there was rumours that he wanted to leave Brisbane. So every time he got the ball, the Brisbane fans booed him. Unfortunately, 2 years ago, Parramatta fans booed Jake Arthur, and really.
Oh, that was. I remember that. That wasn't right. And
absolutely not. And that, I guess, sort of. Look, Jake was never a superstar player, but I guess that has put his career back a bit, because you don't want your own fans booing your own player for that reason, for people thinking that he was picked because of his dad was the coach. He was the player that needed to be picked at the time. So, look, it's a very sort of hard one, and I don't know, as you said, I don't know how Peter V'landys is going to crack down on that and point people out for booing it, because you're going to have 30,000 people at a game, and how do you single
It's crazy,
them out?
Troy.
I mean, when
It's
South
crazy.
play the Roosters again later on the year, what do you think the Roosters players are going to do?
Both. Well, what do you think both sets of supporters are going to do? But it's crazy. He's, you know what? I call it the Desi tactic, the Des tactic. Take all the emotion, all the fun out of a team, and just try to play percentages. So is that what V'landys is doing? Try to rip out all our emotions away. We can't boo. We can't do this. We can't do that. Come on.
Here's a thing. Here's a thing that may happen in the future when Zach Lomax leaves St George. Because then that's been all the talk, and St George have given him a release for at the end of the year. But when he actually does leave and plays for another club, what do you think the St George fans are going to do when St George play the club that he goes to?
Well, I know,
and he gets the ball.
And I know Arthur will boo him because Arthur was cut up last night, and he's going to look fantastic wearing number 1 for the blue and gold. He's going to look unbelievable when he's at the back for Parramatta. But anyway, absolutely. But this is it. How long's a piece of string, Troy?
That's right.
He's actually opened up a can of worms. He really has. And again, I'm going to repeat this, and I hope it's not true. I really hope, and we've had a chat about this before. I really hope Peter V'landys hasn't got favourites like Latrell or the fullback for the Brisbane Broncos, because that's the way it looks.
Yeah,
and I don't like it. It's not good for the game. It's not good for him.
When you single out a player like that, it definitely doesn't look good. You mentioned Des Hasler there. He's now at the Titans. They are winless at the moment. They've only had the bye points. Are they a club in crisis, do you think?
Troy, when I heard he was going to the Titans, I turned around to Nico and I said, top 4. They're going to make the top 4. Because they got the cattle. There's explosive backs, superstar forwards. Okay, I'm waiting to see a few more weeks. Okay, but I've got this gut feeling that rugby league, NRL has passed him by.
How much time do you give Des at the Titans?
Well, let's get up to round 8. To see what happens, see if he's improving. Look, I heard an interview with one of the players, and he said that they were scared to go to training because all Des was doing is spraying them, especially Tino, okay, and Tino and the back row. Anyway, he goes, we love him. He's spraying us 1 second. And it's funny the other second. The reality is you've only got 1 or 2 good sprays in the year.
Yeah.
Because players don't respond to it. Now you've got the other issue that he's been a coach for a long time. He coaches one way, and it's obvious because from Manly to Canterbury, I saw the same things. Okay. Now he's come here with a very young group. Maybe his old school ways are not cutting the mustard, because on paper they're far better than they look. Now the problem is they got rid of their previous coach because they said that he wasn't the one to make him a top 4 team, and they've put all their eggs with Desi. Fair enough. I like the idea. Might turn out to be the wrong move, unfortunately. I hope not. Because I like Desi I like him. I think he's a good coach, but it's not looking good. Are they a team in crisis? Yes.
Yeah, certainly losing consecutive games in the NRL is never any good, and unfortunately for the Titans, they've lost Big Tino for the year now with a
big loss.
Oh, massive loss. So Fortunately for them, David Fafita played his first game back from injury last week, and he's back again this week. So slowly he's getting back into the rhythm, as is Jaden Campbell. So hopefully a little bit of improvement from the Titans.
Troy, do you think that they're in crisis?
Look, I don't know whether they're in crisis, but they certainly are struggling.
They're struggling.
I did as well think that the Titans... look, I can't remember where they finished last year, but I thought they'd be finishing, anywhere from 8 to 12 this year, with a possible chance of making the 8. With Des coming on board, but I don't know if they're in crisis, because they're maybe internally they are, but they're not really mentioned. Well, down in New South Wales anyway, they're not really mentioned a lot.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah.
Where like you have a team like South Sydney who did lose 3 games in a row. And everyone thought that everything was going wrong there. So, and they were in crisis, but we heard about that all the time because I guess New South Wales. So, look, I don't think they're in crisis, but they certainly are struggling.
Definitely. Again, I like Desi, so the jury's out, but. Let's see what happens there. But on the back of that, last year Newcastle signed O'Brien for an extended contract on the back of a good end of his season run. How's that looking now?
Yeah, well, look, that's another club that you could look at as well. Yeah, I always understand. I don't understand why clubs rush out to sign coaches for an extended period. I'm not too sure how long the contract is for.
I think 4 years.
Okay, 4 years. Well, that would seem like an extended period of time. If they halved that to 2 years at the time when they signed it, maybe that could have been a good thing. But 4 years, that's a pretty good extension. And as you said, that was on the back of them winning 10 games in a row, making the finals, and they've struggled this year to find form.
Big time struggle, big time. And it's got, you know what, that last year their season could be defined in 2 parts. The first part, which basically they were atrocious, and the back end where they caught on fire, and in specific, Kalen caught on fire. But they've gone back to the front part of last year, which they were not very good at all, and they're showing the same thing. Now, maybe they can switch a light on and off they go on a big winning streak, but sometimes it's not as easy as last year, Troy. No. Sometimes it's not as easy as last year. And I'm not sure, you know what, I'm going to call this. I'm not sure if O'Brien's the coach that we all think he is. I really don't think so, because there's a lot of firepower in that team, Troy. There's a lot of firepower in that team. I don't know. But look, now that I've said that, they'll probably go on a 10-game winning streak, and we go.
I think I have tipped them for this week against the Dragons. So
I think I have too.
Sorry, Flano, if you're listening, mate.
Before you go on, I just want to bring up something else.
Yep.
South Sydney, you mentioned, they dropped young Elias because apparently he wasn't doing the job, okay? And I agree with that. He wasn't doing the job. And this young Dean Hawkins, well, he's not young, he's older. And because he's older, they brought him in thinking that he can control the environment. So, let's get real. When you've got Cookie one side, Latroy at the back, Katie on the other side, and you got Jack hanging around, and you're a young half, and you're calling the ball, and they're all over calling you. It must be daunting. So I thought Hawkins, being 24, he'll come in and sort that out. Let me tell you, how Hawkins is playing, they might as well have young Elias back. He's not doing too well. Your thoughts there?
Yeah, look, 2 weeks in a new season and they dropped their halfback. I think that was pretty harsh.
Yeah.
Potentially could have given 4 weeks.
4 weeks, yeah.
A month of football, because I just think they all trained throughout the off season with Lachlan there, and he was their halfback last year. To lose 2 games, look, I know it's a cutthroat business, the NRL, and you can't be losing games, otherwise you're going to get too far behind the competition. But to have 2 games lost and then get the flick, I thought it was harsh. I think they've done the right thing now, though, because they've made that change. They've left Hawkins in there, I think, for what, 3 weeks now?
Yeah,
I think this is his 3rd week. So that's a good thing. They haven't gone back to Ilias at the moment. I guess they've done the right thing there by leaving him here for 3 weeks.
Have you had a look at Hawkins? Have you had a good look at him?
Not a good look. I've seen, obviously, the games that he's played this year, the last couple, and you're right, he doesn't get much of a mention in the games. I don't hear his name a lot in the games, because I think we're more focused on Latrell and Cody and
names.
Damien Cook, and you just tend to hear their names more in the games, I think. So I guess he's just doing his job at the moment and holding his spot.
Yeah, let's hope he kicks on. Let's hope he kicks on, because he is very good, and he's got the Reggie's 3 times Reggie's Player of the Year. So he is a quality. He is a quality rugby league player.
Yeah, absolutely. If you win that 3 years in a row, well, then you're doing something right. That's for sure. And you're demanding to play first grade. Well, speaking of first grade, lying down penalties.
Oh, Troy.
Are we becoming like soccer?
My blood rushed to my head. Troy, it's a disgrace. It is an absolute disgrace what they do. Well, you know what? We're the only ones that can see what's happening. NRL and the bunker, they don't see what's happening. They get a bit of a tap on the head sometimes, not always. So sometimes I just feel like they're lying down. They look drowsy there. Okay, they get the penalty. All of a sudden, they jump up with a smile in their face. They're high five all the boys there. You know what I mean? They give a little wink to the opposition. It's a disgrace. What are we playing? What are we doing?
Should they make a rule then if you are laying down as if you're injured and you get the penalty? Should that laying down player then go off for the mandatory 15 minutes?
Thank you very much. You read my mind. You and me have got the same. You know what? The minute you lie down, HIA. That's it. Hey, you're lying down.
Stop
you must have got. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The coach, because it's coached in it. Make no mistake. They don't do things like that with the coach not in their ear, because the coach must say anything you feel on the back of your neck, or any time you feel like it's even clipped you on the face, on the head, you just lie down. The video will have a look at it and give you a penalty straight away. There's not even a question. So it's a disgrace. You know what I mean? I used to laugh at soccer. I used to laugh at it. Now I look at it and I feel embarrassed. And my soccer friends are throwing it back in my face. It's not the game. Again, I go back to the obvious where I say it's not the game that I know, but it isn't. It's not rugby league. It's not rugby league, Troy.
No, it certainly is changing, and look, I totally agree with you there. It's an annoyance of many fans, and I think, as I said, the only way to get rid of that is to go a mandatory HIA. Then they'll stop doing that. But the one that they did miss was the Jerome Luai hit on Bailey Simonson in round 2.
Yes, absolutely.
In the third or fourth minute, where Bailey didn't come back and he didn't play the week after either. He certainly wasn't lying down because he copped a forearm to the face.
No. Don't worry, Jerome in that game was blessed. The things he did, the trips, this, that, he was blessed that game. So I don't know how he got away. I don't know how he got away with it.
They need to stop, and as you said, we see them lie down, get the penalty if they get the... Look, some of these tackles that happen around the head, we obviously don't want players get tackling around the head and getting hit in the head and the like, but some of them are just accidents. Some of them just happen, and look, they could be the lightest touch on the head and there's a penalty. To just let it go on. I mean, I know you can't tackle the head of an opponent, but sometimes it just happens, and look, it could bounce off the ball and bounce up or whatever. But I have many a time watched a game of rugby league and on the TV, and there's been a penalty, and I've gone, oh, what is that for? Like, what is that for? And I've said that exact same thing. We're playing rugby league. We're not playing soccer.
I hear you. And you know what I hate even more talking about that? You know when you got dirty ball or you're taking the ball out of your quarter, okay? You know it. In the third tackle, you're going to get a penalty. It's like it's going to happen. It's scripted. It's written in the rugby league hall of I don't know in the rule book. You know what I mean? The third tackle on your 20, you're getting a penalty. It's like given.
Well, thinking about changing the game, there was a little bit of talk. I don't know how serious this was, but there was potentially the talk of either shortening the kickoffs of games or getting rid of the kickoffs somehow. There was this talk after the Jacob Preston. He suffered a broken jaw in the tackle. He was trying to tackle Shaq Mitchell, and he went off for a HIA. This was off a kickoff. So much like Sam Burgess and James Graham in the 2014 Grand Final, where they collided.
Loved it.
Absolutely, and
loved it.
That's what fans want to see is off kickoffs is two people collide, and that's rugby league. There was a State of Origin game a while ago now. Danny Badiris was captain of New South Wales, and this was off a kickoff. I think it may have even been the kickoff of the game. He just bolted down and tried to take on Shane Webke. I think it was Shane Webke or Petro, one of the two, and just to build up his teammates and show, look, this is Origin, this is what I'm about. I'm the captain. I'm just going to go in head first. That's what we see off the kickoffs. So we love seeing players run off the back fence off kickoffs, front row forwards. You can't change the start of a game, the half time. You can't change when a team scores. You can't change the kickoff. We've already seen the game changed with the short dropouts. They annoy me.
Oh, I hate them, Troy. I hate them.
But every team is doing them. Every team is doing them, and if it works once, they think they do it all the time, and I hate them.
Troy, it's easy. I said this a couple of weeks ago. The amount of feathers is trying to reduce contact. What a problem. Tell us that so we can wear those really shitty fucking shorts with those strips that down the side, and we can all play tag.
Oh, the old... well, you could wear torpedoes as well. The old torpedoes.
You can wear anything you want. As long as there's those strips there, we can play tag. So let's eliminate the contact. Okay, because you know what? It makes me angry. It's an emotion. The rugby league is based on emotion. It's an emotion. One of the most emotional games in the world. Okay, they say it's soccer. I disagree. Okay, because let them get hit by a 120 kilo guy. Let them stand up and play the ball. Yeah. They won't do it. Okay, it's different DNA, different genetics, okay? It's the most emotional game. And all they're doing is ripping all the emotion out of the game. Why do you watch the game? Why do you watch the game, Troy? I know why I watch the game. Okay, I want to feel something. You know what I mean? I want to hate. In the same game, in 80 minutes, I hate, I love, I laugh. Yeah. Okay? They're ripping all that away. Come on. You know what? Can you imagine a game where a State of Origin game, where you don't kick deep, okay, and the big forwards coming off the fence, running the ball with vigor, and you got three forwards hitting him at the same time and pushing him back?
Absolutely.
I mean, what's the game coming to?
Yeah.
Let's play tag. Tell us now. It's easy. Tell the lads to tell us now that in 10 years we're playing tag, so I can move on. Yeah. So I can go and watch ice hockey, American ice hockey, and see people still get belted and blood everywhere. Because that's what I want to watch.
And they don't change that game. And look, I've always said, as a motor racing fan, when you go into a motor racing track, say you go into Bathurst, and there's always that sign at the front of the gate saying motor racing is dangerous.
Yep.
There may be flying debris go into the crowd. You may be injured. Patrons enter at own risk, sort of thing. Players who play rugby league, they want to play rugby league because they've grown up, they've loved the game, they've played the game as a kid, and they want to play NRL. They know going into this game, they're going to be playing against, as you mentioned, 120 kilo players. I mean, playing against Nelson Asafa Solomona, I mean,
wow.
he's a giant. Payne Haas, he's a giant. Junior Paolo, giant. So they know what they're getting into. Look at little Lachlan Galvin, 18-year-old, playing against Parramatta last week.
He loves it. He loves the contact.
Absolutely. And yeah, you're right. It's they know what they're getting into. And
you know what? On the back of that, Troy, I'm not sure if I told you this story, but I'm going to tell you this story again. And I'm hoping that your listeners and my listeners and the word spreads and it gets to Peter V'landers' ears, okay? Imagine this. You're 6 years old, okay? You go to Mum, I want to go and play rugby league. Your mother takes you to the local football ground, okay? Okay? You get out there, okay, and some big Tongan guy runs at you and you go and tackle him, okay? Then you run to the sideline to your mum, okay, and you say, Mum, I don't like this game, okay? But guess what? There's 12 other kids out there who love the contact, who want the contact, who need the contact. As they get older, when they're 13, 14, when contact really gets directed and really gets physical, okay, more kids drop out. That's not for them. That's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. There's other sports. There's Monopoly, there's basketball, there's soccer, there's GAFL, there's other games they can play, okay? But guess what? There's 6 of those kids or 8 of those kids who go on because you know why? Because they want to feel something. They want to feel emotion. They want the contact. They need, you know what? The game finishes, they recover, and Monday, you know what they're thinking about? Contact.
The next week.
They want contact. You know what? The next week, the next game. What's the next game? It's contact.
Yeah.
Okay. So if V'landers get it through your head, these guys who play first grade rugby league, they're not like you and me, Troy.
No,
they're not like you and me. Okay, they're wired up differently. They live. They can't. You know, when they finish rugby league, yeah, it's what they say. It's the team environment. But you know what they miss? They miss contact. They want it. Their body wants it. Their mind wants it. You know what I mean? So where's the V'landers going with this?
Well, the other thing to come about that is if they're worried about contact and they're worried about injuries and HIA and further on down the track, why do they let current NRL players go into boxing matches?
Thank you, Troy. Thank you very much.
If they're worried about that why do they let them go into boxing matches in the off season?
Absolutely.
Why doesn't the NRL step in and say, no, sir, you're a current NRL player. We aren't going to let you do this, even though it's outside of rugby league. It's in the off season. You're not in contract time, whatever. But you are a current NRL player. We've trying to reduce all this contact to the head and the like in the game, and you're going out boxing. It just doesn't make sense. I remember when I was a young player, I only played for about 6 years as a kid. I remember, and I was only a small kid, right? And I couldn't tackle to save my life. And you mentioned the big Tongan kid running at kids. Most of the players that I played against were massively bigger than me, and I remember this one game we got beat 90 points to 0, and that was because there was this one kid in the other team, and he was massive, and they just give him the ball and that's it. But I played in that game and I couldn't tackle him because I was too small and I was hopeless at tackling anyway. But did that change my mind about rugby league? No, I just kept on wanting to play it even though I wasn't good at it. And I played it as a kid, and I followed it as a kid, and still following it. So,
look, I don't understand what. I don't know. You know what? V'landers looks at the dollars and the cents, and I get it. I thought he was a rugby league man, and I thought he was a rugby league lover. He's obviously not, because he's on the wrong track. He's on
Well,
the wrong track.
speaking of getting fans offside, the obstruction rule.
Oh,
Look, I'm sorry. I'm
where's
sorry to
give
bring
me a
these
Panadol.
up. I'm sorry to bring
Give me a
these
Panadol.
subjects up, but
Yeah, where's a Panadol? I need a Panadol. Oh,
yeah, I think I need a couple of Becks and have a good lie down. I think, but
yeah.
the obstruction rule. Look, we saw last week the Joey Manu try was disallowed because of a JWH, Jared Wilmer Hargreaves, and a Dylan Edwards collision, which the bunker called a obstruction. Now,
Yeah.
if Dylan Edwards was Superman, he would have got there and got that tackle. He would have stopped the try. But last time I checked, I don't think Dylan is a Superman. Panther fans that disagree with me, they say he would be, but I don't think he's that fast to get 20, 25 metres across the field to stop that try. So what do we need to do about this obstruction call? Do we need to have an ex-player, a recently retired ex-player in the bunker to give a player's view of that, to say, yes, he would have got over, yes, he was obstructed with that. No, he wasn't obstructed with that. What do we need to do to clear this up? Because every single week we are seeing an obstruction call. Look, the reverse was sort of the other way with going back a couple of weeks now, Manly and Parramatta, where Tom Trbojevic went up the middle. Jake Trbojevic stopped in the line. Now, that was obviously smart coaching and smart player in Luca Moretti, because the experts have said he was lazy on the field at that time, but he was playing the rules because Jake was there. He stopped on the line. He stopped in the line. So, look, what are we going to do about this obstruction rule?
Troy, we're going down a rabbit hole here. And it's very murky waters, because if we leave it to discretion, so let's go Dylan Edwards. He was caught in the middle of the field, basically. He was like 20 metres away. There is no way in the world he would have got there. No chance. Okay, so you tell me, if we leave it to discretion, how many metres closer did he have to be? If he was 5 metres closer, could we call it obstruction? What do you think? 10 metres? Where's the line?
Well, yeah.
This way, it's black and white. It's not right. Trust me. I sometimes I look at the calls and I feel sick, because I know that they're playing up to it. But it's black and white, and we have a conversation and we have we have a discussion about it. But I'll turn around to you and say, well, he was on his inside shoulder. Yeah, he stopped him. Likely he couldn't get to it, but he stopped him. Imagine if we had discretion. Imagine the video referees, more shit on the video referees, because they haven't got enough shit to deal with already, mate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're really opening a can of worms here if we keep on going down this road. I think the way it is now, it's not perfect. It's actually not perfect, but we just got to get teams. I just got to get better. Like Jake could have took 2 steps more.
Yeah,
okay.
Well,
now Dylan Edwards, how 20 metres away someone obstructed him, even got near him, is beyond me. Why would you even go anywhere near Dylan Edwards 20 metres away?
Well,
You know
most
what I mean?
players, because Jared actually had his back turned to Dylan. He didn't even see Dylan. Most players, I guess, would have tried to get around Jared to try and get to the tackle, but because these rules are in place, Dylan's collided with him and they've made it an obstruction. The other thing, talking about obstruction, that really annoys me is where has the shepherd penalty gone?
Oh,
Players get caught in a bad position and they just dance on the spot, turn around and go down, and when they know they shouldn't have been in that position. Look, stuff isn't going to work. Plays aren't going to work all the time, but some of these blatant ones that just, they get the ball and it's a clear shepherd. Where's the penalty to the opposition?
I'm going to bring you back to 1984, 85, 86. Parramatta had this move, and it was a sort of a run around. It was called a rollie. Peter would run around one of the forwards and then dish the ball to the backs. Okay, so it's a run around move with some runners, so sort of block runners like we've got them now. Okay, sometimes they got it wrong, and the referees back then didn't even hesitate. They'll blow a shepherd. Okay, I've seen far worse shepherds in the first 4 rounds or the first 3 rounds of NRL this year than Peter Stilling ever did back then. Okay, and like you said, they hop around or they just fall down, and that's sort of like the answer to it. You know what I mean? If it's a shepherd, it's a shepherd. Blow a penalty, because guess what? If it's an obstruction, they'll take advantage of it. So, refs, do your job. And they're struggling, by the way. The refs are struggling.
Oh, look, they've got a hard job. I wouldn't want to be a referee, but they've got a hard job.
The days are over where one referee on field can handle a game. There's got to be 2 refs, one holding back the 10 metres and the other one over the ruck ref in the game. And they can't toss and turn like, you're the head ref now for 10 minutes. And no, one head ref, one guy holding back the tent, the 2 spectators with flags to get more involved, and less stuff from the upstairs from the video referee, and we'll have a better game. And you know what? Do you know that the linesman or the touch judge, call them whatever you want to call them, and the referee and the video guy in the bunker there, they're not a team. They're all different.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Every week there's Sutton's got a different linesman, different bunker. How can you get any consistency?
True.
if every week you chop and change? There should be teams. Okay. Now look, the linesman can easily be a ref this week, and he could go to the second ref. They can mix it all up, but they've got to be teams. They've got to be teams. Maybe not the bunker, but definitely the 2 linesmen and the guy in the middle. Yeah. It's ludicrous. It's crazy.
Well, that's one thing that I do miss these days is the old touchy running in with his flag up.
Yeah, remember that?
I used to love that. I think there was a joke, I think, when South Sydney came back into the competition and Phil Gould was the touch judge, and
I remember that.
He ran on the field with his flag up, and he just said, I don't want to report anything. I just want to get on TV. So, But
I love it.
And old Martin Weeks, I think MG used to call him TV Weeks. I think.
Good old Weeksy.
Yeah. So I really miss the touchies running in with their flags. But anyway. George, I think we've covered a lot over the last 50 minutes or so.
It's been that long. Gee.
Yeah, I know. Who knows what Rugby League will bring up this week, over the weekend. But we should do this again either next week or the week after. So, look, enjoy your footy. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. And enjoy your footy over the weekend. And may your team win and may my team win. And may there be no major controversy.
Please, thank you for having me, Troy. And happy Rugby League, my friend. Happy Rugby League to everybody.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Paracave Podcast. See you next time.